There's certain times in my athletic career where there's a lot of dark times, especially after my knee injury, that you realise that a lot of people are out for themselves and they don't really care about you. So there's like a balance between sort of red and blue lightsaber. I'm not gonna lie, the recovery from the knee was probably one of the toughest things mentally that I had to go through, because just to put a couple of things into perspective, my following on Instagram, I think I was on like 13.8 thousand or something, and it went down to 11.1 after that loss and that injury. The best way I can describe it is you're looking at the top of Mount Everest, but I'm right at the bottom. Now, if you're looking right at the top and you're at the bottom, you ain't gonna achieve, that's a pretty insurmountable task to get to the top.
I've met Modestas through a mutual colleague and friend. So we met a few years back. Modestas had his knee done by Rag Skaka, and that was an awful injury, and he had done really well from it. And then he got in touch with me because he had a shoulder issue. Now, the shoulder issue at that time was a chronic injury from lots of fights and injuries accumulating over years. And we treated it conservatively for many years, actually, with injections and rehab. And that's how we first met. And eventually, the shoulder was a big problem, so we ended up having an operation to fix it.
I first spoke to Dr. Noorani. It was basically just like, how can we fix it but not have to go to surgery? So we ended up doing injections and stuff like this, and it was just annoying to be able to push things, to be able to punch. I couldn't do any bench press whatsoever, couldn't do push-ups without much, without having pain. And if you imagine in fighting, you're put in all sorts of different positions. So realistically, it was just affecting me from being able to perform at my highest. Initially had a look at all the sort of best knee surgeons in the country. I remember speaking to Dr. Kakar, just like an initial consultation, and then we sort of just built up our relationship from there, and he was the one who took care of my main knee surgery as well. With Dr. Noorani, obviously he was a very good friend of Dr. Kakar, and he said, my friend, he's the shoulder guy, I'm the knee guy, he's the shoulder guy. So if you ever have any problems with that, go to him. And then, lo and behold, I had shoulder problems. So that was the first person essentially that I went to. Anytime I have any problems with those things, they straight away respond to me. And yeah, the level of care, the level of commitment they have, even just the transparency and, the friendliness of them, the kindness, that's why I continue to go to them, because they're just so professional, so good at what they do.
Once you've taken care of the mechanical problem, it's the patient that has to really then recover. And it's the physios and the rehab specialists that really work hard with them. 90% of the work is actually done by the athlete and the physios working with them.
My physio, Leanne, she actually came to watch the operation herself, because she was really trying to figure out how she was going to coordinate my physio to be able to get back, and what stresses was I potentially going to face and stuff like this. So she really took it seriously, and she structured everything perfectly. As soon as I started living day by day, as soon as I started looking at little progressions, like of achievements, then it started like having a bit of a snowball effect. I think I had to go through that like really dark time in order to get to the better times and the brighter times. But when I started looking at it day by day, just small progressions, bit by bit, that's when I started overcoming everything mentally. And I was like, okay, now I'm going to make the biggest comeback in sporting history. Next thing you know, I got a call from my manager saying that I'd just been re-signed to the UFC and I'm fighting in Australia in 2 weeks' time. And it was mad, because the amount of emotion that was rushing through my body at that time, because of all that I had to go through in order to get all the pain that I had to go through, all of the recovery, step by step. Like I say, I was at the top of Everest now. I was looking up at it thinking, how the hell am I going to get there? And now I'm already there.